I've always loved the Amiga CD32. I find it a really interesting console, being Commodore's last machine and their attempt at entering the console market. Now, it only stayed in the console market for 6 months because Commodore were trying to save themselves from bankruptcy. They ended up rushing it for Christmas '93 and, it didn't work. Now, the Amiga community has kept this machine alive, and a lot of the original software that came out was shovelware. It was just floppy disks shoved onto CD-ROMs, and it was a bit slow. 020 processor with 2 megabytes of chip RAM. Today I'm going to be showing you an upgrade for your CD32. Now, this is a prototype, but it is absolutely mental. It's probably the maddest upgrade you'll ever have. It is a Motorola 68K 060 running at 70 megahertz at the moment, and oh my god, it's got 128 megabytes of RAM. This is the equivalent of kind of strapping a Ferrari engine onto a Robin Reliant. Now, a lot of people have kind of seen me posting about this and seen that I've got the card. And a lot of people have been asking me what's the point in having this card and why is it not RTG and just AGA, and that they want RTG on it. Now, I think these kind of 5th generation consoles at the time, as you can see, look absolutely stunning on CRT. And a lot of the games were made to be played on CRT monitors. So my kind of thinking about it is, if you want RTG, then just get yourself an Amiga 1200. This is for a CD32, which feels right on a CRT monitor. Now, this is the card itself, and just out of disclosure, I paid for the CPU, and those guys Super Duper and Stephen Leary sent me everything else, which is absolutely amazing of them. They sent me this Kipper 2K adapter, which basically turns your CD32 into an Amiga 1200 with RGB out, so you get that beautiful monitor display. Also, it's got PS2 keyboard support because, it's hard to get 4000 keyboards and stuff. I'm a bit of a nerd and a collector, so I've got a 4000 keyboard, so I just removed that PIC chip, and basically that stops the PS2 overriding it. Now, this is the card itself with the 060 in, and guys, they are getting rarer and harder to get, these 060s. And this is the hard drive, which is a compact flash hard drive at the moment. Now, I'm going to show you the other side of the card. Bear in mind that this is a prototype, so I don't think that the final product is going to be covered in foam to stop it short-circuiting on the RF shielding. And also you can see that Super Duper's signed it, which is really cool because I think this is one of only a few that are about. We'll take a closer look at the card, and this card itself is a prototype, so please take that into consideration when you're actually watching this video, because there's a lot of improvements that need to be made, and there could be speed boosts, there can be some really cool new features that are added, but at the moment, seeing as it's kind of a one-man team, Stephen Leary, he's doing a lot of ironing out of bugs, trying to make sure the operating systems work well. I know there was an issue with OS 3.9 and getting one of the modules to work on there. So, it's a kind of work in progress, but I'm really hoping that this is going to turn into something cool, and it will mean that, when these upgrades come out, I can bring you guys more videos on it. Now, you can install it by sticking it in the back and trying to get everything shoved in there. But I like to take the screws off because I did try that a couple of times and I was wondering what I was scratching or hitting when I couldn't actually see it. So you put the expansion in the back just like you would with any other Terrible Fire card. And then you can see the use of the foam here is to basically stop it short-circuiting. Now, people have also asked me, does this card get hot? And, I've been running it for 3 or 4 hours playing demos, and I put my hand on the top of the CD32 and I can feel a bit of heat. I can feel some heat kicking out of it, but it doesn't need a fan or anything like that, I don't think. Maybe there'll be some tests in the future, and you can see I'm putting the compact flash card in here, and that's insulated on the back. Now, I'm going to be showing you how this card helps Amiga games, how we can get some kind of later Amiga games on the CD32, and also some absolutely mad stuff like FPSs. Now, you can see it from the back, it looks really neat and it looks really compact. First, we'll start off with some classic Amiga titles that get a bit of a speed boost using this card, and all this footage is captured directly from my CD32. The sound wasn't that bad, but my actual capturing process made the sound a bit horrible. It does get a bit better later on. Now, the absolutely awesome thing about having the Kipper 2K board is that you can have a custom build. So you can have like tiny launcher at the beginning that I have here, and then it chucks into this really nice CD32 themed workbench build that I did based on a CD32 theme that was online. And of course you have to check sysinfo because everybody absolutely loves a bit of sysinfo, and bear in mind this is a prototype still, and everything's pretty much subject to change, but there was the terrible fire tools. They're available. You can change the CPU speed on there, which is pretty good. I think I was running it up to about 70 megahertz, and there you can see you've got your 128 megabyte of RAM. Now, the CD32 was a cool system, but you know, I always wanted to play movies on it. I wanted to play videos on it, and without the MPEG card, that was always a struggle. But there's an amazing piece of software, and this is called AGA Blaster. And actually, Doug from 10 Minute Amiga Podcast has been helping me get this working. So this is in AGA at the moment, 256 color mode, but you can run Ham8, and Ham8 runs really well on this 060, but I did some conversions, and the first one's Joe's Band.
You never know the people you meet. At the end of the street is a golden gate. Let it love it, don't let it hate.
One of the only decent titles for the CD32 was Simon the Sorcerer, and that's because it was a talkie version, so it had full audio clips, and it was a really fun game, but you know, it would often be a bit slow with the loading of the speech, but it was a great title, fantastic graphics as well. Now, Simon 2 came out for the PC, but it also got an Amiga conversion, and this Amiga conversion works fantastically under the 060, and you know, it's great to have a game that was never kind of released for the console, but really that should have been its home, and just fantastic to play it again and get a bit of Simon love.
Excuse me? Yeah. Does a spider have 6 legs? Course I do.
Actually, being of the class Arachnida, the common spider, Arachnida vulgaris has 8 legs, arranged in 4 jointed pairs, these being located on the thoracic region and
What in heaven's name are you drivelling on about?
Sorry. I used to lecture biology at uni.
Was that interesting?
I only did it for the sex education videos.
I see.
Now, do you want to enter the tournament or not?
Harper and I joined a space exploring mission who required mercenary soldiers. The occasion was perfect, and we were soon on board Explorer FX2.
There were some really nice games that were released later in the Amiga's life, and Wasted Dreams was one of them. Absolutely fantastic adventure title. I recommend it to everybody. Of course, being Amiga, there was a load of crap that came out as well, but some of this actually plays quite well. This is Virtual Karting 2. Later in the Amiga's life, it got a lot of Polish users, and they created some really interesting titles trying to push the system beyond its limits, and this was a rail shooter called Heroes of the Galaxy 3D. Payback was a fantastic title. It came in the later Amiga life, and you know, it was really innovative, a rip-off of GTA, but very funny, very good game, and it got ported to the Game Boy Advance. Now, it does have a CD soundtrack, but currently, this being a prototype, CD is not actually supported, so a lot of these games had to just be hard drive installs. this is the king of Amiga first-person shooters, Genetic Species. Absolutely fantastic game, and probably passed by a lot of people because it was released in 2009. It's a stunning piece of work, amazing achievement, and you know, you may hear a few audio glitches, but I think that's because it's a hard drive install and it's not accessing the samples from the CD. But does it run Doom? Does it run Doom? Of course it runs Doom, and your microwave probably runs Doom nowadays. Also, impressively, it runs Quake, and you could probably get it running faster. You know, I got it running in this window speed, but if you reduce the particles and did all these kind of magic tricks, I'm sure people can get it running a lot smoother than this. And now, of course, we've got to look at the demos, because we've looked at some games and some film, and demos are what us Amiga guys do. Sit there and watch these great graphics. Now, there may be a few glitches on these, on the graphics. I think that may be down to my FrameMeister, because my FrameMeister was set up by me and I don't know what I'm doing on there. All the instructions are Japanese, so it's pretty crazy. But this was the best output I could get, and also the output, I noticed it looked a lot dimmer than the actual output that was coming out. So here are some wonderful TDL 060 demos running.
La moutarde, c'est faux. Et c'est pour ça que c'est bon. La moutarde, c'est faux. Et c'est pour ça que c'est bon. La moutarde, c'est faux. Et c'est pour ça que c'est bon. Que c'est bon. Et c'est bon.
Now, I think this is a really cool little setup. I'm absolutely loving playing around with this card, and I'm going to do more videos on it. I just love how I've expanded my CD32 into a huge gaming machine here with a menu and keyboard access and the operating system. Now, I know a lot of people are going to compare it to the Vampire or the Warp cards, but you know what? I think it's in a weird league of its own, and if anybody else makes a CD32 card, that would be absolutely fantastic. Let's see how far we can push this beast.